Hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar titled From eFiling to Judgment Publishing, Unlocking AI with Synergy eCase. My name is Levon Kirakosyan. I'm a Senior Project Manager for eJustice at Synergy International Systems, and I'll be moderating this session. We're delighted to see representatives from so many countries, and we thank you for joining us. Before we begin, I would like to communicate a few quick housekeeping notes. Please keep your microphones muted during the presentations to avoid background noise. Feel free to post your questions in the Q&A section at any time. We'll address them collectively during a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the webinar. This session is also being recorded, and the link will be shared afterwards with a post on our YouTube page. Now, let me briefly walk you through today's agenda. Over the next hour, we'll explore how artificial intelligence can help transform judicial processes and address real-life challenges through Synergy's eCase platform. We'll look at how AI adds value at different stages of the case, from e-filing to judgment preparation and publication. Now, it's my pleasure to welcome our speakers who will guide us through these topics. We will hear from Mr. Khachatur Matevosyan, the Vice President for eJustice at Synergy, and Ms. Nysen Karunji, eJustice expert again here at Synergy. After our discussions and presentations, we'll open the floor for your questions. So, without further ado, let me welcome Nysen Karunji, who will walk us through the challenges being addressed in e-filing. After that, Khachatur will demonstrate how AI supports litigants throughout this process. Nysen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Levon, and thank you everyone for joining us. It's truly a pleasure. To respond to this question, I'm going to break it down into two parts. The first part I'm going to talk about is onboarding. The challenge here is, how do you bring to scale a new system that will be used by millions of users with limited resources? Now, most judiciaries invest in trainings, which are never enough. And on top of that, they have to invest in continuous trainings because there are always new people coming in. On the other hand, every new system comes with a long user guide, which no one ever uses, to be honest. Reason being, finding information in that user guide is hard. Even a specific information like, how do I file a case in this court? It takes a lot of time for the people to use such user guides. The second issue that I want to tackle here is about the court rules. We all know that judicial systems revolve around court rules and laws. For instance, to determine the jurisdiction of the court, what required documents are needed to file a case, etc. The issue is that you might find an answer to one issue can only be found in multiple rules. So for one user to go through all the rules to find specific information they need takes a lot of time. Now, the question is, how can we leverage technology so that we create more user-centric systems, justice systems, so that everyone can have access and easily interpret whether it's user guides or court rules, even if they never really studied law? So that this will ease the work for the call centers and the IT staff who now have to guide people through how to file a case, for example, in a specific court. And for that, I will call upon my colleague Khachatur to demonstrate how we can actually use AI to facilitate onboarding and interpretation of court rules. Thank you, Levon.
Thank you, Nysen, and greetings, everyone. In order to show how AI can help whenever it comes to the onboarding, I will share my screen and we will log into the system as a litigant. One way for the AI to be able to help, as my colleague Nysen told, it's very hard to go through all the user guides. In one of our recent projects where we had to prepare the user guides, we had more than 5,000 pages of documentation provided along with the system, and it would be always hard. Now I have logged in as a litigant into the system where the litigant can see the files which he has submitted to the court, and if it's the very first time, the part for the files would have been empty. But here we have what we call an eAssistant. It is actually an AI-based chatbot which is trained on all the user guides and can provide answers. So if the litigant came on the very first time into the system and would like to file a case, it would require just to type a question, for example, how to file a case in Supreme Court. And based on the available user guides, the AI would read and would provide a detailed answer here. This way, the litigant can read instead of opening user guides, downloading them, and reading and finding exactly the part where it is about filing cases to the Supreme Court. It could do. And easily, the litigant could say, okay, after successful login, navigate to court case section, where there, start a new case by clicking Create button. They can click on Create button and do the actions and continue. For example, under the court drop-down, select Supreme Court, meaning step by step, the litigant can follow the guidance from the chatbot. This would drastically reduce the load on the call centers, also the need every time to refer to the user guides. But this will be helpful not only to the litigants, but as well to the judges or registrars or prosecutors who are interacting with the system. So any question which answers could be found in the 5,000 pages user guides can be easily asked to the AI, and the AI would provide the answers. But in the same way, it's as Nyson told, it's not only about the user guides, there are also the court rules which define for which court what type of documents should be filed, if there are any deadlines, and whenever we speak also about common law countries, for each court there can be for each category specific court rules. Now how AI can help in this case, it's when AI is learning on the specific country's court rules, it can provide answers exactly according to the court rules that are available for the given jurisdiction. For example, if we ask the AI what documents are required to file an appeal in Supreme Court, so the AI will read all the court rules, and based on the available court rules, it will provide the answers here. These are court rules of a specific country where it is trained, and the AI will provide exactly what documents public should file, what are the deadlines, and so on. Because sometimes you may find court rules in one country which have many modifications during the whole years, and they are available on the judiciary's website or somewhere else. But this way, it really facilitates having answers to all the court rules. And to reduce the possible, there is a term recently on the AI called hallucinations, where you can ask a question and it will give you an answer based on the jurisdiction of another country, court rules. Here, AI provides answers and limits them to a specific country. Levon, back to you.
Thank you, Nyson and Khachatur. This AI assistant clearly has the potential to reduce human error during case filing. It seems that it may make it easier to search through regulations and cut the workload of call centers and support staff. Now, let's move on to document tagging. We know that case files often require large volumes of documents of different types, especially during filing. Nyson, could you please tell us more about the challenges faced in this area?
Thank you so much for that question. It is true what you said, that case files require large volumes of evidences and documents. Now, it is very hard, first of all, for someone to upload a single document at a time if they have hundreds of evidences to upload. That's number one. Number two, there can be a challenge that a person may upload their own personal documents. Imagine if you're filing a case and by mistake, you upload your vacation pictures or your flight ticket when you actually wanted to upload some evidence. And let's be honest, multiple times people do not cross-check or preview whatever we're going to upload into the system. So this can really be a challenge. And the third one is that there is a challenge that one might upload the wrong document at the wrong place. Imagine if you're trying to file a case and instead of uploading the receipt for the court fees, you actually upload the receipt for your child's school fees. This can have legal consequences. For example, your case can be rejected for failure to pay court fees, but it was just a mistake, and it might be hard to defend that this was actually done by mistake. Let's look at another example. Imagine you're a judge and then you acquit someone, but when you're uploading the copy of judgment, you end up uploading the wrong one. by mistake. Now here the challenge is that it's actually worse, because now a person who is innocent and free has to spend more hours or more days in jail unnecessarily. And we all know the principle that even a minute is an acceptable amount of time for an innocent person to be unjustly incarcerated. So how about we think about a way how we can have another level of checking, some way that something or someone could check for us, like an assistant, and say that, hey, this document might not be the right one you're trying to upload at this place. Thank you, Levon.
Thank you, Nyson. It would be interesting to see how technology can help reduce the possibility of human error when interacting with court systems. For example, in case of document submissions. Khachatur, I believe you can guide us through the solutions we have here.
Thank you, Levon. I will again share my screen. And whenever we talk about working with documents in a electronic case management system, there are a lot of documents which are being uploaded, and basically all the users of the system, be it the litigants or state attorneys or judges or registrar, they upload a lot of documents into the system or work with the documents. And to streamline the process of working with the document, usually every document which is being uploaded into the system, it has its specific type. It's an affidavit, or it's a notice, or it's a supporting evidence, and it usually comes with a description. And we have done more than, like court case management system in more than 15 countries. And in every solution, whenever we were talking about attachments, we were talking that it had its own title, it had its type for tagging, and its description. Now, this is yet a draft case in a court, and we are logged in as a litigant. We'll try now to show how the process for uploading files can be facilitated with AI. In the part of the attachments, when we click on Add, first, what technology helps, so we can upload 3 files at the same time, or 5 or multiple files altogether. But here is how AI comes in handy. After files are being uploaded, the AI makes the optical character recognition to understand what are the files, and also creates a description, meaning the tagging, which is the AI makes the detection of the tags and writes a brief description of the file. So at the first glance, the one who uploads can understand if it's the correct files that he or she wanted to upload or not. Additionally, they can always open the files just to make a quick preview and to understand if the tagging done by the AI is done correctly or not. And as you see here, this file was, it's a scanned file, but as we call it technically, this is basically an image. Though the technology has advanced in a way that it can easily make a scan of the file and come out with a description and identify the type. So meaning, be it the lawyer or the litigant or even the judge who is uploading documents, system will help them to make a quick tagging of the file and also provide the description. So to reduce the time of the mechanical thing of working on the system, and additionally reduce the possible human mistakes. Levon, back to you.
Thank you, Nyson and Khachatur, for these insights. It's interesting to see that lawyers and court users can now upload all their documents at once, and the system will automatically check the types and provide a summary. This can definitely make it easier to avoid human errors during filing. Now, let's consider the perspective of the registrar who receives these hundreds of case documents and has to review each one within a limited time. In practice, registrars have relied on pagination and table of content to make navigation easier, but those tools only help with finding sections, not actually reading or understanding the full content. So Khachatur, a question for you. How can technology help improve court performance when it comes to working with documents? For example, reviewing them or getting an overall understanding of the context?
Thank you, Levon. Whenever it comes to working in those systems with documents, it's not always 1 or 2 pager. Sometimes you may have documents as a registrar who is receiving the file at the reception, or as a judge who may be hundreds of pages. Sometimes whenever even you receive an appeal case, so you may have thousands of pages of documents and sometimes merged all together or scanned copies. To facilitate the work and to show how it works, I will again share the screen and will log in as a registrar into the system. Now, when the registrar accesses the system, again, in the same concept, they can see the files which are available. And if we open the case and navigate to the part where we have the attachments, we will show how AI can help. Now here we have multiple attachments which are uploaded, and if we open one of them, there is a quick preview of the file, and this is a 4-pager file. So this could be 100 pages or even more. So here we have so-called eAssistant and how AI can help. If there are any questions regarding the file, the AI can provide the answers to them. For example, if we have an attachment and we want the AI to have a quick promptly say what are the key points in the uploaded document without going through all the pages. Here, it can make a brief summary for us about all the information in regards to the given file. And additionally, if there are any questions, for example, if we want to understand who has submitted this document, we can just ask the question. And the AI will read and provide the answers. And no matter if the file is a scanned document or it's a group of documents and it requires OCR or not, the AI performs all the actions and provide the answers. Here, actually the 4-pager document consisted of 2 merged documents together, and here are, for example, the ones who submitted. In the same way, there can be a contract of hundreds of pages, so AI can easily read and provide the answers. And in this sense, it acts as an assistant who is helping to the registrar or the judge to read and get the information required in more faster way. And as in any court process, working with the documents and reading takes most of the time, this way AI can help to reduce the time spent and increase the efficiency of the overall work. Levon, back to you.
Thank you, Khachatur, for that demonstration. It's clear how this feature can improve efficiency by reducing the time it takes to review documents. Now, let's move to a topic that has been highly anticipated, virtual transcription. We know that Synergy eCase includes a built-in virtual court module, which we also demonstrated during our previous webinars and is already proven helpful for justice institutions. Nysen, could you share some of the challenges faced during the transcription process?
Thank you, Levon. So hearings can be done physically, they can be done virtually, and they can be done in a hybrid manner, where some of the parties are in attendance physically in court and others are joining online. Now, transcription itself is a challenge, especially when it is done manually. Number one, it is costly. You have to hire skilled transcribers, and you have to get expensive equipment to allow them to actually do the transcription. The other challenge is that the hearings are very fast-paced in most cases. So it is very hard for these transcribers to capture all the details and all the information that is being said during the hearing. And on top of that, the transcription finalization itself takes hours, if not days, for longer hearings. And not to mention that it can cause fatigue, it can slow down hearings, it increases human error, and all these other challenges that we all know. But to solve that, most jurisdictions have opted to investing in hiring more transcribers. Well, mostly that is the option they had. But this is more costly even, because now you have more transcribers coming in, and you have to match the transcribers to the judges so that every judge during the hearing has someone to transcribe for them. So this then delays the hearings really and worsens the issue of case backlog. But what if there was a way that technology could be used to ease this process? And this is where I'll hand back to you so that you could take us through how technology can actually help in transcripting.
Thank you, Nysen. Khachatur, how are we helping courts further in the transcription process to deal with these challenges?
Thank you, Levon. Actually, when we talk about AI in our Synergy case, we should consider that there are multiple different engines which are working all together. So yet what we were looking at were mostly on language processing models, but at the same time we have engines which are based on doing voice-to-text functionality. Now again I will share my screen and will show how practical it looks like when the AI is making the voice-to-text transcription. Here again, if we go into the part of the sessions in the court case and open. This is the part where the court was scheduling the hearings, and if the hearing has a recording, coming it automatically from the virtual hearing or uploaded manually, the audio or video file, the recordings can be available here. Now, when we say the recording, so it can be, just to show as an example, a virtual hearing session where different parties can be available and they can start. And it can have even multiple languages. So what we have done, we have, after a year of testing different AI engines, we came up to one which could accommodate more than, at this stage when we started, it had about 40 languages. Now it has reached to about 80 languages. It can automatically generate the first level transcription, which of course can after be given to transcribers to work on it and modify and fine-tune. But it's the very first stage which reduces the load, and in a couple of minutes, after an hour of hearing, you can have the initial transcription. So after the hearing is done, the transcription can be available, and if need be, there is also a possibility to start generating where the AI engine will automatically prepare the transcript. And additionally, as we were talking about the eAssistant, one of its advantages is that the eAssistant works and on the uploaded documents, and it can also help with the transcription. Meaning, after it does the transcription, if you are getting a case where there are hundreds of pages of transcription, you can ask questions directly to the AI. For example, again, to have a brief summary about the transcription, or to ask who are the parties there inside that, or what is the main argument. Here, for example, it generates very quickly a brief summary, and if judge will have any questions to the text of the transcription, for example, what is the plaintiff's main argument? It will again act as an assistant, and on the transcript that it generated, it can provide the main argument of the plaintiff or any other question that they may ask, which means that if you had a 5-hour-long hearing or 2-hour-long hearing, which can become hundreds of pages of transcription, the AI can help to easily find the text and what was spoken during the hearing and give the answers. So it can help and the transcribers to make the process of transcribing easier, and it can help also the judge and the registrar to get all the answers from the transcript that they need. Levon, back to you.
Thank you, Nysen and Khachatur. Now, before we continue, just a quick reminder to everyone, please post your questions in the chat box and we'll get to them shortly. Now, moving forward. Nysen, now let's talk about the judge's work, especially when it comes to drafting decisions. What challenges are we looking to address here?
Thank you, Levon. It's actually interesting what Khachatur says, because that is exactly what the judge needs. That most times judges start drafting judgments days after the hearing when they don't remember specific details from the hearing, and the transcript may be 50 or 100 pages. So the AI can help the judges to pinpoint or to find a particular information that they need in the transcript. Where, for example, they want to know what a certain plaintiff or a certain party said about a specific issue or a witness's statement, etc. The AI can really facilitate that the judges can find this information quickly. But so most importantly here, what I want to come back to is the research and analysis of the precedent. We know that precedents, whether binding or persuasive, are very vital for decision consistency and predictability. The issue is that most jurisdictions are dealing with a lot of backlog and continuous incoming of new cases. So the judges do not have enough time to research all the precedents and deliver fast judgment as expected of them. Now, in most jurisdictions, they have tried to employ researchers. This is costly. But even then, they can only employ researchers, for example, for the higher courts. And the lower courts are left to handle it on their own because they don't have enough resources to get researchers for everyone in the country. But what if there was a way that every judge could have his own personal researcher who has access to all the precedents needed for that country and can review them and deliver specific information within a limited time possible? And I think that this is where we need to facilitate judges so that they can fast track the research process, reduce case processing time, and ultimately fight the issue of case backlog. Thank you, Levon.
Thank you, Nyson. Khachatur, how can AI assist judges in doing research, especially when they don't know the exact keywords to use when looking through different precedents?
Thank you, Levon. Actually, when we were brainstorming in Synergy AI Lab how to facilitate the part of the research using of different AI engines, there were a couple of components that we had first to solve before coming to it. The very first one was how to restrict the answers of the AI. And I think my colleagues have told me that in the chat there are many questions regarding how we work on the hallucination part. First was to not to use the so-called cloud solutions, but to have an AI which would be specifically trained on the given country's precedents, which means having a place where the precedents would gather, and based on these precedents, the AI could provide the answers, so that there is no more additional need to check if these cases existed or this is the right decision linking with this case, so that it will purely have a specific database on which it would not only learn, but also from which it would provide the answers. And then was the question that the terminologies can be different. And when you are making a research, you may have multiple way of describing the same thing. So we came up to a group of different components in the AI solution which work all together to provide the correct answer. Now, to show how practically it works, I will again show my screen, and I will log in as a judge to show how AI can practically help the judge whenever writing the decision and when the judge needs to find one of the cases. So we'll open one of the cases which is available with the judge, and we'll go into the part where we have the eAssistant in place. Now, if the judge wants to ask any question to the eAssistant on cases, for example, to find the cases on violation of agreement, the AI would start looking at all the precedents which had anything in regards to the violation of agreement, which can be violation of agreement, breach of contract, or breach of agreement, and will bring the answers. Of course, there is portal which we will see, which gives possibility to see all those cases in details, but the AI can easily find those cases. And here what we show are more of the demo cases which are available online, where the AI can help. And further, again, anyway, if the judge wants to go deeper into a single case or ask specific questions, the AI will answer, but its answers will be restricted only to the given cases and the data which is available in those cases. For example, provide summary for, let's say, this case. Now AI will give more details about this specific case. Or if need be, it can go even down and ask specific questions regarding the decision or regarding the legal grounds or any other. Here It provided a background, summary, the legal issues which were in the case. Now, if we want to understand, for example, some more in details about the decision, it can provide the decision. This way, the judge can easily it can facilitate for the judge to make the research process, and based on it to provide more answers and more specific questions. Levon, back to you.
Thank you, Khachatur. It's kind of a loop, isn't it? Lawyers rely on precedents to prepare their submissions, judges use them to decide cases, and those decisions then become precedents for future ones. Khachatur, in your presentation, you mentioned AI hallucinations, right? And we have several questions regarding that. Something many judges have also raised as a concern. AI often refers to cases that never actually existed. How can this problem be addressed so that AI helps users find real cases instead of generating misleading ones?
Thank you, Levon. To explain how the issue that you raised during the multiple conferences that our team attended, it was always the case that there has been even real precedents where lawyers or judges could prepare a decision or a draft of it, and if they don't check and they have used, for example, an online web-based AI solutions, this could bring up some cases which never existed, or the decision had nothing to do with the case. So it was more of a good language text coming in, but it didn't have any real ground underneath. So to be able to solve this, how we address, I will again share my screen, and here what we have is what we call the repository of laws and case laws. So it's part of our Synergy eCase and called Lex View, where the system gathers all the legislation and all the precedents after the decisions are pronounced. So after they are gathered here, additionally, the court can have here the scanned copies of all their precedents. It becomes kind of a repository based on which AI provides the answers. And here it can have all the legislation of the given country or given jurisdiction and all the case laws that are available. And whenever it comes to searching, this is part which works for the judges and which facilitates the work of the judges and also of the lawyers who are making the search. Besides the traditional keyword search, which would search by the exact phrase, for example, Article 16 or breach of contract, it has also smart search, which tries to find in the big repository of all the laws and cases things which have similarity. And again, it's behind it's an AI engine which is working. So if we search, for example, violation of agreement, here as a repository it can show all the possible legislation where there are any references to violation of agreement and all the case laws as precedents. And as many countries don't have fully online legal portals, now the technology has gone at the level that even if the cases are more of a scanned documents, so the OCR can help a lot. So the files can be OCR'd after being uploaded into the system, and the AI can facilitate the search process. So this way, and this tool specifically, helps a lot to reduce, or we can say even eliminate the possible hallucinations, being the AI concentrating and learning and then providing information only from the trusted, let's say, courts, legal portal, and the law portal as well. Back to you, Levon.
Thank you, Khachatur and Nysen, for those great demonstrations and explanations. We've seen how AI can support different parts of the process, from onboarding and analyzing court rules to classifying documents, transcription, and decision drafting. Before we conclude, Khachatur, could you share what's next? What are the upcoming plans for AI in eCase?
Thank you, Levon. Actually, the way we drafted the roadmap that we have for AI enhanced tools in the case management system was we were thinking about AI in a way that it could facilitate the court processes. Now what our team is working on, one of them is to help people with disabilities. So for example, to help people with inclusivity during hearing for people who have hearing challenges. So where on the screen of the virtual hearing, for example, AI makes replication of a human who makes the gestures so that people with hearing challenges, they can understand. And additionally, what we are now trying to come up with is an additional AI tool which will help to find the deepfakes in AI. Because one of the things that was raised during the recent conferences, the judicial conferences across different countries, was that judges want to understand that if for example, the evidence which is provided, it's real or it's more of an AI made, and it may sound easy for some technical people to know in which website, for example, to check the information, or in which, for example, source to validate it. But what we are working on is for AI to be able to identify them. And additionally, in the same way, if someone provided in their justification references to different precedents or laws, also for AI to be able to check if those laws exist or not. And the roadmap is big, but those are the key things which will soon come alive, and we'll be making another webinar to showcase all the other possible features and functionalities.
Thank you, Naisen and Khachatur, for that great walkthrough of how AI is transforming case processing. Now we've come to the interactive part of our session, the Q&A panel. Thank you to everyone who've been sending your questions. I see that some of them have been shared privately. Given the time limitations, we will be selecting a couple of questions to answer, which would be interesting for the larger audience. We'll be happy to further answer your questions via email and dedicated demo sessions. So, the first question, Khachatur, has been regarding the hallucinations of the AI, which I think we have already answered. So moving forward, we have another question in regards to the system being is the system envisioned for self-representative parties or for lawyers only?
Thank you, Levon. The way the systems that we have are being designed, they can be used and by the lawyers and advocates, and also by the self-represented litigants. So it doesn't restrict access. So anyone can register and have their profiles in the system and file their cases, which makes part of the eFiling module. However, in terms linking it with the topic that we were discussing today during the webinar, what we are trying this way to solve that for many litigants, it was always hard to file cases electronically. Because you may have solved the computer literacy issues, you may have a lot of trainings, user guides, but what AI really helps is becoming kind of a chatbot which would answer all these questions. Of course, it's not 100% that you may find the answers, but if the answer is anyhow available in all the user guides, it will give. And what we tried to do in our AI, because we didn't have so much time to showcase it, whenever it comes to AI not knowing the answer or not understanding the question, technically, it's always possible, and what we always do, to restrict and to advise him not come up with some imaginary things, and it's not, let's say, a content that you should provide. Try to find the exact answer. And technically, to be able to come up to that, we used multiple AI engines, which were themselves training the chatbots, so that in the end we would go. And another thing that why we selected those features was that these are things that most people are resistant to AI when it comes to court, because it's hard to trust something that you cannot validate. But what we tried also to do to come up into the features which users could validate themselves. For example, if you know how to do ABCD in the system, you ask the question, you see the answer is correct, it's easier to check. Or if you go step by step and you see that it works, it works. The same way on the transcription. it's something that you can test. So we try to bring AI as the entry point at a way that it could be things that can be also validated.
Thank you, Khachatur. Another great question and very important one regarding security. So the question is, when it comes to data security and privacy, most jurisdictions have data storage and security policies. How do you ensure compliance with such policies, especially in terms of hosting? Khachatur, I believe this question is addressed to you also.
Thank you, Levon. Actually, after doing so many projects, one thing that we understood, even if we don't touch the AI topic, when it comes to the actual electronic case management system and its database, was that many countries have specific legislation when it comes to the data security. And some countries do not agree to use cloud solutions, or specifically when it comes to court-related data, it to be anyhow sent to another country or to the cloud server, so the data to stay in their premises. And considering that restriction that we faced many times, so our solution, we came up to the fact that it's being hosted also locally and on-premise. All the AI engines that we tried to use during the development and so that those features could work, all of them can be deployed locally, which means that there is no way that the data will go outside of the country or outside of the server. So everything will remain within the premises, be it, for example, servers that the judiciary has in their own data center, or be it a government data center. So it doesn't require any any connection with any cloud solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Khachatur. Very important topic. So the next one, in regards to the local languages. How do you handle local languages and jurisdiction-specific terminologies in your answers? For example, are your models trained on Kenya, Rwanda?
Actually, I would say so that the AI engines, the way they are developing is really very fascinating, and it's very, very quick. When we were starting our AI lab and we would be researching the market to see what type of AI engines exists, the functionalities were really limited. Now, when it came to, for example, language processing models, they had multiple restrictions, but now they work uncomparably well. And the same relates to the voice-to-text functionalities, where we could hardly find a couple of AI engines to integrate into the system, and now there are multiple with support, I would say 100 plus of languages. The one we selected a year ago as our main engine, it had 40, and in a year time, with the updates that were available, it started doing 90 languages. And specifically to Kenya, Rwanda, is one of our biggest projects, is in for the Ministry of Justice of Rwanda, covering all justice sector. We are now testing different language models to be able to have all the functionalities that are for English also in Kenya, Rwandan. And the same way, I think the tendency in the market for AI engines will lead us to the fact that also the local languages will be there. Because in the voice-to-text, for example, Africana is also working, and every month, I would say, new languages and dialects are coming in. Levon.
Thank you, Khachatur. So let me see what other questions we have. So the next one, a bold question. If you use the AI only within the black box of the file and precedences of a certain judiciary, and the AI is able to read the hearings and all evidence, AI could come up with a decision immediately. It could also provide a preliminary decision at any stage of the court. This would provide economic behavior of parties, including friendly case settlements.
It's always hard to answer when it comes to the AI trying to make the decision for the case. And I would like to ask my colleague Nyson, who was working with the judiciary for many years, what's her opinion on this one? and then I will try to answer from the technical perspective how realistic and when that can be achieved actually. Nyson?
Thank you, Khashatur. I actually like this comment because I think this is where we are going moving forward, that people will look at the issues they have, they'll look at the cases they have, and they will just see that this is going to amount to anything or it's not going to amount to anything, and they would prefer to actually settle or to withdraw the cases altogether. Because in my opinion, the AI and technology are actually going to come in to help us deal with case backlog and the constant inflow of cases. So if parties at any stage of the case can see that the case they brought before the court is probably not going to amount to anything, or they see that the effort they are putting in to seize the court is wastage of money and resources, as you said, then there is a chance that they will be pushed to settle their conflicts amicably, for example. I think it's a good thing.
Thank you, Nyson. Khashatur, back to you.
Yes, thank you, Nyson, for this. And as for me, after analyzing for so many years how AI can help and how we can bring it into the system, so there is a lot of places where actually technology can help in the court performance. And it's not only about AI, but about multiple ways of different automations, reminders, and steps that system can help. But for AI, my opinion is that it can serve as a helper to help with the research, to help with accessing information, and at a moment when it has enough data on precedents, on the case file, it could try to provide initial, prediction for the initial decision or the outcomes. But as I think it's always critical that the judge reviews it, because it can at the moment come up to another decision, but I don't think that it will be ready to automatically close the case or come up with the very final decision. Because for some cases it can be possible where it's mostly civil cases which have clearly defined for ABCD situation, this should be the decision. But whenever it comes to more complex cases, the reviews and role of the judge, I don't think will be changeable. Levon?
Thank you, Khashatur. Let me see if we have any more time for one additional question. Okay, we do have. So the question is, I am guessing this is only available in specific countries. Not all countries have made their repositories of laws and cases easily available. Some still are in paper format. Is this the case, Khashatur?
Thank you, Levon. Actually, as we were saying, how the AI learns on the precedents, so it's not, let's say, Googling. For it to work, it should have access to a kind of a repository. In our solution, we have a repository where the existing decisions or precedents can be uploaded or imported, or then further after the system, they can come and enhance it. Or yesterday, we were discussing with one of our potential clients that there can be ways that if they have already a repository, it can reach there. But for the AI to be able to work and to assist on the research, it should have access of this data. And for it to not have hallucination and not to bring precedents from totally contradicting jurisdictions, it should have a specific environment where this can come. Now, if we compare to what was the situation, let's say 10 or 15 years ago to nowadays it's really easier to come to that, because if those cases are at least available in paper form, they can be scanned and uploaded. And thanks to the OCR and the way the AI engines work, they can easily make it as a text, create all the multiple dimensions which are required, and provide answers already specific to those type of jurisdictions.
Thank you, Khachatur. We have received many more questions, but due to time limitations, unfortunately, we won't be able to answer to all of them during this session, but we will get back to you and your questions via email. As we come to the end of today's session, I would like to highlight that we're open to the discussion and organizing also dedicated demo sessions. Feel free to send us an email if you'd like to schedule one. On behalf of Synergy International Systems, I would like to thank Khachatur Matevosyan and Naisen Karonji for their excellent presentations and all of you for joining and engaging with us today. A recording of today's webinar will be shared via email and posted on our YouTube channel. Thank you and have a wonderful day.